Good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to take a look at a question from topic 4 homework in Alex. It is computing the average daily balance, interest, and balance for a credit card statement. All right, so first things first, everybody, the first line, that is row 15, is a hard entry, okay? Specifically columns C and D. Those have to be entered manually, as well as E. The formulas are all in column F, okay? So the first thing you want to do is enter the beginning balance from your table. The second thing you want to do is calculate the unpaid balance. There's no formula here because it's exactly the same thing, right? That's the beginning of the month. The next thing to enter in column E is the number of days. So you're just subtracting December 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. Therefore, it's 4 days. And now comes our first formula. You can see it as U times N. U being the unpaid balance, N being the number of days. And that is our first calculation for our average daily balance. Okay, next. We see from the statement that we made a payment of $920. That's why it's negative. I'm showing it in red specifically to highlight that fact here. And then the next one is we're going to add our formulas. We're going to add the unpaid balance plus a negative, right, which is subtracting the payment we just made, which gives us a new unpaid balance of $980.07. The next thing to do is to count. All right, count what? Well, after we made that payment, how many days did the balance stay the same until December 12th? 12 minus 5 is 7, so that's the number of days. I go into column F, and that is the same formula from up above, right? I just copied it and pasted it down, but you don't even have to enter this, everybody. All you have to enter is the hard copy information if you have this Excel sheet. All right, which means what? You have to count and enter the number of days. You have to count and put in or add in the transaction. So you've got to enter the transaction and you've got to enter the number of days, and the table will formulate automatically from that point. Okay. So next, what happened on the 12th of December? On the 12th of December, we made a purchase, which means we are adding to our debt, right, on our credit card. So it's a addition of 7468. What do you guys think the next formula is going to be? It's going to be the previous unpaid balance plus your new purchase, right? Which is 1,054.72. And you can see again there the cell references. I just copied it from the cell up above it, right? That's all I'm doing is once I write a formula, I can copy and paste it. All right. That being done, I have to count. All right. From December 27 to December 12, that is 27 minus 12, which is 15 days. And I again multiply the unpaid balance times the number of days. I then go to the next hard entry, which is what? I made a payment on December 27th. Again, your days will not necessarily be the same as mine, not necessarily the same month, right? So if your days change, be sure and change that accordingly. They made a payment, so it's in red again, a negative balance. And now I'm adding the previous unpaid balance from what? From cell D17. I'm adding to that C18, and I have my new unpaid balance. At that point in time, I have to count. Everybody, this is the tricky one. How many days are in December? Right, 31. I know you looked down below it and saw 31, right? But you say from 27 to 31, that's 4 days. Not so fast, right? We have to include the 27th and we have to include the 31st. So use whatever counting you have to use, including your fingers, right? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 5 days, right? Okay, and you got it. And then we do the U times N again, and that is our sum total of what? The total of the number of days times the unpaid balance. And so now we skip down enter, and we have the total for the month. Those 2 days are important. The yellow is important, right? We have to have the number of days that has to be correct for the month of December. We have to have the total of our U times N. And now we're going to divide those two, that value where that sum is in cell F19. We're going to divide that by E19, and that gives us our average daily balance. Okay, perfect. Now, once we've calculated our average daily balance, they also may ask us to include the interest for the next month. How do I calculate the interest? Notice with me here, everybody. The interest is calculated on, for this question, it's calculated on the average daily balance times the interest rate, which would be monthly interest rate, which is 1.3%. All right, so I enter that, and I am almost done. So close, right? The next one is, what would my new beginning balance be? You say it would be the unpaid balance from December 31st, right? The unpaid balance from December 31st plus the interest that was calculated on my average daily balance. That's what you would say, and you would be correct. All right, you're becoming a math wizard. And there we have it, everybody. Our new beginning balance for January 1st would be 468.37, and you knocked it out. Way to go. We'll see you guys.